All right.
No, the recording's going.
We're good. See the little green things going. Welcome, everybody. And for the people who are on the internet, if you would like to participate in the meeting, you're going to have to show us your face and who you are so we can recognize you other than just a blank screen and a name. So thank you. Okay, I'd like to start the meeting and call the meeting to order. Is there any additions or deletions to our agenda? I have none.
I have none.
Okay, approval of the minutes for May 28th.
We can't do that.
We can't do that. Okay,
We'll table that till next time.
yes. All right, moving on. Let us move on to the road foreman's report. Mr. Klucher.
Take it away.
We started cutting shovels off that road today. About 2 hours over dumping. And I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but emissions are going to be changing on all these big trucks in 2027. And you can add a $30,000 to $40,000 increase.
Oh,
Is what we're told by the dealerships today.
wow.
The purchase price?
Yeah, because of the new emissions they gotta meet.
Okay.
And I don't know what the deal is with the signs lately, but we're losing them right and left, getting run over.
Really? Okay. Sorry.
And we plan on trying to be over in Hawkins Road sometime next week to do them shoulders before we start adding gravel to them roads.
So just out of curiosity, so I understand, why do we do the shoulders? Because they're built up and makes kind of like a swale?
The water runs right down the road, instead of getting off the road.
Okay, got it.
I was over at Richards today there, and his neighbor, you know, water's running down the road out of their driveway. And we're gonna change that, so it's gotta go to the edge.
Yep. Okay, great.
Which you know about, I pulled the Mack off the road last week, the 2 front tires falling apart. And tires for about $1,600 a piece, just for 2 tires on the front.
Yeah. And you still have no idea when the other truck's coming in?
I got a phone call into them right now.
Okay, great. All right,
Everything else is going good, everything's working.
great. Thank you. Is there any other questions for Mr. Klucher? Having none? Thank you, Rick.
Okay.
Have a great
Have a great
night.
night.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
Is that someone that needs to be in?
How do you get the names of the ones that are up there?
They
Who's
plugged their,
Terry?
that's, we don't know that yet. I'm working on it, but they plugged their name in, so.
So again, people who are on the internet participating in our meeting, if you want to be recognized or heard or talk to the select board or it being part of it, you have to show a picture of yourself. You can't just have a name. So thank you. Okay, emergency managers were report,
I
and
don't
he's
see
not
Mr.
here
Bob
today.
back, so
Bob,
we'll have to-
no, Bob.
That was a great post you made with them for him.
Yes,
Again.
I saw that.
It's about the hot weather.
Let us move on to reappraisal grievance hearings.
Just an update, there are about 15 appointments scheduled all tomorrow. And I know that Caleb has a couple of things he will consider without the people being here that he's received, so.
Okay,
Town hall will be closed except for the hearings.
All right.
Because I've got to be
Present.
witness, I
Yeah.
guess, so.
well, you're the expert. Okay,
Sure.
let us move on to the Addison County Sheriff's contract renewal.
Straightforward like last, except, the rate's gone up from $39 now, to $44 now. That's crazy.
Again, compared to what we were paying for the Virgin's PD, it's very
Yeah.
reasonable. You need to sign it.
Yes, I do. Would you like to make a motion? or-
I will make a motion that we accept the Addison County's new sheriff contract.
I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. And do you talk to the sheriff's office, Maggie, at all?
From time to time, yes.
Yes, so again, encourage, we're more interested in actually doing road work other than necessarily trying to write tickets. I'd rather have them go up and down people's driveways or houses and stuff like that, to make sure everything's nice and safe. Okay. Move, yes, ma'am.
I don't have this contract up here for the Virginia's area rescue squad, I can grab it.
Why don't we just hold off on that? Because that's going to be a discussion on the 20th of June. Okay,
We have approved their
Yeah.
15, budgeted for their 15, now the other, okay, we'll talk about it later.
okay, new polling place firearms,
Prohibition.
yeah,
This
at
is
120.
just for everyone's information, they have formally legislated that no firearms are permitted in polling places. So, that includes the voting place, which would be town hall. Just for everyone's information. Neither goes.
Yes, that would be nice. Okay, our new open meetings law legislation.
So that's in there too, but the gist of it is that now meetings must be recorded and the recordings must be posted of any decision-making board. So that's you guys and the DRB.
So we'll be posting this link to the recording on the website.
And actually uploading the recordings to YouTube and then posting a link to that.
Oh,
YouTube
that makes
thing
sense.
Because of the way the website works. but-
No, that makes sense.
So just, again,
Great.
that's by way of information.
It's always good to follow the rules. Okay, anything else on that? Okay, let us move on to public comment. Is there anybody here for public comment? Oh, yeah, please, when you
Why
talk,
not? That would be great.
you know, come to the table here,
You gotta
because,
move your suitcase there.
so we can hear you and we can record you.
That way we can hear you on the recording, yeah.
So of course, I'm coming about the solar array.
You'll have to speak up, please.
Oh, I'm coming about the solar array.
Okay,
And one question I have, for the select board of the town is, why would we want to hire a company that has a criminal record?
we're not hiring a company at this time.
Okay. Why would, we don't want to consider even it? I mean, I would think it wouldn't want to even be considered.
I don't think the town is hiring the company.
Yeah, we
It's,
are not
Well, I hope, I
hiring
mean,
the
it's not,
writers.
I don't mean hire, I would say recommending it, you know, if it comes to fruition.
I guess what really is, I'm sure there's some Pantonians in our community that do have criminal records, and they have been probably charged, and they might have even been convicted. But that doesn't mean they can't live and work in our community, and I don't know how I could discriminate and say, we can't do with you because we don't like what you did, and that might be a possibility, but again, it's just like, how do you do that? And if you do that, are you willing to pay the possible consequences? The consequences meaning going to court and getting sued big time. And the question is, that really doesn't solve anybody's issue. Again, so I don't know if that's worthwhile or for us to travel down that road, but.
It's nice to be, that people are aware of it.
And I think that's a possibility that they are aware of, and I'm sure you're telling people, and that is your right to do that. But I don't think as a board, personally, and I haven't, and I guess what I'm really saying, do you want me to expend money to call our attorney and say, hey, Benj Putman, should we have conversations with these people because we think with anybody that have a criminal record at who's actually been what do they call it, serve their penalty, I guess. And it's like, well, you really can't do that. I think if it's an individual, I don't know in this state if a person is a felon can actually vote, but I think they can in this state. So other states, they can't. So again, I don't think personally, and I am definitely not speaking for Teresa. It's like, I don't want to go down that road and lock horns over something that's because somebody isn't that.
I just think it needs to be taken into consideration. Thought about.
There's many things that need to be taken into
Yeah.
consideration.
So that's what I want to point out.
Okay, thank you.
And another thing I would like to take into consideration is what the people of the town, the majority of the town people would like to see happen. If this happens, if this goes through or if this comes about, to consider the majority of the people.
I think we attempt to do that just about everything we do.
Good.
We really, and I guess the remedy, if you don't like what Teresa or myself do, there's a remedy for that, and that's like, vote us out.
Mhm.
I mean, we've done a lot of things for the town, and the question.
I guess my question is, what? The solar panels are gonna be on private property. I don't, and I think as the public, we have the right to say our piece, but I'm not sure where our rights supersede the landowner rights. And I know I don't want anybody telling me what I could or couldn't do on my tiny little piece of property, and that's where for me, that's where the rub is.
Mhm.
Being able to say to a landowner, it's your land. It's not public land, it's not town land, it's not, and so that's for me where the conflict lies.
Mhm.
Whether or not I like the idea of the solar field is kind of irrelevant because it's not my property and it's not town property. And so I don't know that I have the right to tell someone, and I'm telling you, I haven't made up my mind yet.
Right.
But what I'm saying, I don't know that I have the right to tell anybody what they can or can't do
Mhm.
on their property, and that's where the conflict lies for me.
And thinking about what the town has set aside for a solar field, and then this going outside of that range, does that bother you?
Well, again, there are things that I think are good and things that I think are bad, but within, I think there are places for wiggle room and negotiation, but I don't know that. I don't always agree with people being able to do, I don't always agree with what people are doing with their property.
Mhm.
but I respect the fact that it's their property.
Mhm.
You know, they didn't actually ask my opinion, how I felt about it, so I don't, not sure that I have the right to express it, but I don't know how much weight that carries.
Mhm.
And so I think the town has the responsibility to hear the rest of the residents
Mhm.
and then have a conversation with the property owners who are want to do this and say, hey, how can we have something that's works for everybody?
Mhm.
But I think that's all the town can do. That's my opinion.
Keep that.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I either have 12 pens or 0. Sorry.
I have some. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes?
Do you have any thought on that, or opinion, as she said?
Again, it's just like,
We can wait and see.
if you want to paint your house pink, how am I going to say, I wish you wouldn't do that? It might not make me happy that you did that if we live right next door to each other. But again, you know, that's experience in Burlington where people say, I'm just letting my grass grow as long as I want because I'm naturally reseeding it. And someone next door goes, I'm keeping up my property and this looks like an abandoned property. I don't appreciate it. But there's two sides to every story. So.
Right.
And so again, it's just, you know, we're just looking at this and really, I would say for me, I don't know how much information was discussed last select board meeting, but I still don't have a lot of information. I still have questions and until those questions are answered, you know, I can't make a decision.
Thank you. You're gonna type fast.
No, I am. I want to take down.
She's used to us.
Anybody else for public comment? Oh, Reed Williams.
Well, it's Wills, Wills, but I think I spelled it wrong going in, so apologize. I just, Dave Hazel couldn't make it. Dave is normally our representative at these meetings. Can you all hear me okay?
We can read, thank you.
Oh, great. So, yeah, we just, in light of your comment, you know, we just want to make sure everybody's aware. We have a open house that we've put together for Wednesday night for the express purpose of providing answers to questions that people have. We had a very interesting and interactive meeting on May 14th, where our goal was to, you know, hear from people and make sure that we do as good a job as possible answering those questions and bringing those subject matter experts to the open house. You know, what we wanted to express is, you know, from our perspective, this is the beginning of a process. So I know we've done some outreach with the town with regard to one of the requests from the planning board, which was to have a source of funds for the town to be able to study the project. You know, we're at a preliminary phase. We're several months from making any type of application to the State Public Utility Commission. And so, you know, our goal here is to communicate effectively to town officials and town residents and neighbors what our ideas are, take some feedback, and to the extent possible, you know, work cooperatively in how we design this facility. So if there are any, I know that you had counsel representing you for the escrow agreement. I don't know if there's any questions or that the select board might have for that. We're happy to answer those, although we're not lawyers. Otherwise, you know, look forward to interacting with folks. We'll have you know, quite a few people, you know, at least 7 or 8 subject matter experts available for people to interact with. We'll have some exhibits. And we'll have plenty of cold water. So thanks for giving me a minute to just lay out what our goals and objectives are.
Reed, I just wanted to make a clarification. You did not choose our attorney. We chose our attorney. Is that correct?
Yes, if I misstated that, I abundantly apologize. We have our own attorney and what I was saying is I'm not an attorney. But our respective attorneys had negotiated on an escrow agreement as a follow-up to a comment that I made on March 14th, committing to provide resources. So
And
there are
that's-
two attorneys and you have your own attorney, obviously, yes.
And that's a typical thing, because that they usually develop an escrow account for most solar.
Yes, we do that in the normal course and we do not control those funds. There are some, kind of guidelines in the escrow agreement, but otherwise a third party manages that. So that the town can feel confident they can, do the type of research they'd like to do.
Right, and we're familiar with that from our other solar field that we dealt with, Green Mountain Power. So thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you
Well,
for
then we
your
have-
time.
No, so I thought I put review and sign the escrow agreement on the agenda, but apparently I did not.
That's okay.
It's in your folder.
We will,
Probably
You have
address
it.
we will take care of that. I will add that to the
Add to the
agenda.
agenda.
Okay. I mean, if you
Yeah.
need it.
Is there anybody else here for public comment?
Yeah, I
Okay, yeah, we're not
just
done.
accepted because I forgot something.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
so
still in public
If
comment.
you're going to have a public comment, please sit in this chair so we could tape you and we could record you.
Hi, Jean Jackson. I just want to make the board aware that I am not in favor of this,
Okay,
and no comment is needed from you. I don't want this in our town.
okay, thank you, Jean.
Joseph Marzlikowski. I had a couple questions for the board.
Sit down, my friend.
Considering how long the board has known about this project, what have you guys tried to do with the solar company to get for the town? Because your best interest is our town, correct? And
Absolutely.
utilizing town infrastructure and, but overall, even other people's property, it's still part of the town. You could leverage these companies in a sense to get more for the town. So what, if any, has the select board, any talks you guys had with this solar company about offers for the town, incitements,
And
incentives?
I would tell you that we've had no conversations with the
Yet.
select board on that. I cannot speak for the DRB. That's kind of like our, brother, sister.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but,
As the process moves forward, of course, we're gonna be trying to find out what the tax implications are, what type of revenue the town might generate.
Right.
We've heard stories of other solar fields and where the type of tax revenues they're
But
earning,
and
but
you
we
guys
have
thought
not
of
had those
anything, talked of
conversations
anything
yet.
no,
Not yet.
no, I mean, we don't
Like-
wanna, we wanna make sure that we're not going too far ahead of ourselves.
Right, like Reed just said, we're months away from the decision about whether even to move forward. So,
That as far as them applying, there's, people want to move forward.
Right.
No, I
Applying
understand.
is the next step. I would think that you
Right.
guys would probably want to negotiate before that.
yes, of course,
So
Yeah.
if that's gonna be in a couple months,
right.
But it has to eventually go through the DRB and have a conversation, and then. the
but you guys kind of have more oversight than the DRB,
Well,
correct?
it's a process that they have a suggestion, and then the select board does the finalization
Right.
of what
We
to
probably
do.
shouldn't waste any more time on it. We should probably get right on that, right?
Well,
We're waiting for what the outcome of the DRB is. We haven't seen any, we haven't. had
Their
any-
revote about the area, correct? That we were.
I'm sorry,
referring to?
what?
yeah,
About the revote,
Mhm.
about the zoned area.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
until we know what they're doing, then we'll bring them into our meeting and have a conversation on how that's going. And both mechanisms will then work
Right.
together to come up with them.
I mean, the questions are there. We just haven't, we're not at that stage yet.
We're not going to go to Reed and say, hey, this is what we need, or, we're gonna quash this deal. And that's not going to happen until we figure out where we actually stand. And, you know, that's what is
It
important.
seems, it almost seems like we are at that point, but that's just me looking in.
Yeah.
I appreciate
So
your,
my second question,
Yeah.
what is your opinion? Now, Cindy sort of asked it, and I didn't hear too much of a clear answer about the current proposed approved area from the town. What is the select board's opinion about having the solar outside of the current approved zone?
I guess I don't really have enough information on that. I don't have exactly, I think, did we actually see a map exactly where things, I would like to see
You
that.
haven't seen the map of the zone and where they will, I mean, it's been available to the public for a while.
Well, I understand
Your
that, but
presentation.
It's, you know,
excuse me, you know, I appreciate that, but hey, I've been away for a little bit, but I would like to see an aerial view on a map exactly where all the ideas where these are going and how much they're happening. But again, that isn't necessarily, you're talking a small map that is 6 by 6 there. I would like to see a big map.
you've lived in this town for a while,
I
right?
have.
So you can tell, looking at a map.
I have a rough
even-
idea, but again,
even
it's
looking
just
at
like,
those maps.
how many acres does it cover, how many it doesn't cover, what it looks like, and they could do that. They can all show us exactly what it looks like and how high those solar panels are gonna be.
So you don't have a statement then on the matter?
Not
What I'm
really, I
asking.
have to take a look at it.
All right,
Yeah.
that's
We
all I
haven't
have
had
to say.
I mean, it's, yeah, we're as a board, we have to get the three of us together. He's been out of town. Our third board member couldn't make it tonight. And so we need to sit down with a map and come up with like what we think for the town based on all
No,
of
I'm
those parts.
asking
Yeah.
whether, you know, you agree. We know, you can see on the map where the town, the DRB approved an area.
Mhm.
What I'm asking
Rough
you
area,
is,
yeah.
do you approve it being, what is your opinion on it being outside of that area?
I have no opinion on it. I haven't actually seen how much of the solar field is outside of the area. I haven't been given those things, and I haven't had somebody sit down there and explain to me exactly what it looks like and what's going to happen. And so it would be hard for me to say, how's your cornfield doing? I haven't driven by it lately, but I'm sure it's this high, and you're gonna go, no, it's this high. I don't know. So till I see stuff and get some evidence on how it all is gonna look like, you know, I don't wanna make a judgment until I see it.
And I feel, like I said before, just to, say it, I feel that gives us a little bit of negotiating room right now. So we look at it and we decide that it can't be, maybe that how we strike the deal is to figure out how to make it fit better into the approved plan.
Well, that was
right?
kind of my point with the,
Right.
what is the select board doing to try to get the best deal for the town?
Exactly.
We know a large chunk of it, you can take a glance at that map and see a huge chunk is out of the plant zone.
Mhm.
So what is the town gonna get out of
We
it?
just have, we
by
haven't had that
going along with
conversation
it?
to
It's
make
like
a
the
statement as
question,
a
like,
board.
If
Right,
you're
but it's
saying,
not.
you're saying if it's 300 acres, how many acres are outside the zone? No,
That's what we need. I mean, that's the sort of information we don't have.
I don't know.
And we
Over
can't.
50%. You can tell that just by looking at it, over 50%.
Well, again, you know,
So that's pretty easy to round,
I mean, that's your worst best guess. And I'm just saying, I would like to know those things
Yeah.
before I make a judgment on it, and it's just like, well, I don't want to round it up or round it down. It's like, and the other question.
Yeah, I understand,
Yeah.
I understand.
I
you
mean,
know,
we want to make sure that when we make a statement as a board, that we have all of our facts and not just something that we say kind of off the top of our heads,
Right,
because we want to make sure that it's substantiated.
yeah,
We do not want to shoot from the hip.
right, we don't have an answer at this time.
Correct.
That's correct.
And we're comfortable with the
All right.
timeline
All
that we
right,
still
thank
do
you.
that.
Okay. Yes,
I have public comment.
okay.
Kathy Bennett. First off, Howard, I am really upset about your answer to Joey.
Okay,
That map is on the town's website. If you had come to the meeting that they put on, you would have had your big map to look at, because they had it on pieces. So I don't quite go with what you just said. The other comment I would like to make is, I would like to know why this board has so many executive sessions. You have 4 employees. You have more executive sessions than the school board does. And one of your executive sessions positions here about the professional fees escrow account should be talked about in public. What the actual amount is, you don't have to say, but discussion of it should be made public and not in executive session. The same with your position that's going to be filled, what the duties are in that position, and not who you're hiring or interviewing should be in public session,
Can I,
not in your executive session.
can I answer some of these questions one at
Sure.
a time? Sorry, I was in Portugal. I couldn't make the meeting.
There's
Okay.
another one on Wednesday that we're trying to get to.
That doesn't explain the map.
Well, I'm just telling you, I was out of town and out of the country. I'm sorry I wasn't there. And your next question is, executive sessions are deemed for personnel matters, and that's what we're talking about. And I don't think, not necessarily, they're for the employee and the employer's relationships.
That's right.
And
That's
so
all it should be for.
Which is,
if you think we're violating the law and we're not following the Open Meetings Act, you should make a complaint and do it that way. But I'm telling you, we are following the law. We follow the law and all these things. We are not making decisions behind your back. And the next question is, I believe I answered it. If you were listening, when I was talking to Reed, that lawyer that we have was our lawyer that we hired. We got that lawyer
Yes.
before we got anything else. And the deal was, this whole process, we worked out with the solar people that they would pay for our attorney's fee. That lawyer actually came from our first lawyer who helped us with our first solar field with Green Mountain Power. So I don't know why you have a problem with that lawyer.
Because I'm not having a problem, well, I do have a problem with it, but I'm not going at, what I'm having a problem is that this escrow agreement, the lawyers have worked it out. You should be discussing it in public.
The lawyers worked it out because that's what they do. And she comes back and gives us an item to look at. And
Then why are you not signing it like you did
Well,
the other courts?
so it's a legal document that will be reviewed among the select board. When they come out of executive session, they will either
vote for it.
vote for it or vote for changes to it. We are not, I'm sorry. The public cannot sit here and comment ad nauseum about, that's not enough money, that's too much money.
Oh, no,
what happened?"
I understand that part, but it should still, public should still be hearing what the board is discussing about that account. I wanna know if you don't like the amount of money, I wanna know if she likes the amount of money. The public has a right to know that. And what the final details are, it is a public document once you sign it, is that correct?
Absolutely.
Mhm, sure.
And I don't see why it is in executive session.
Because we're talking to our lawyer about the document and how the document is an advantage. And what it is, if we have it in a public session, it could give advantage to other people. That would be like the solar people. They would hear our discussions, and that's why we go into
But they've
executive.
they've got their lawyer and they have.
No, you don't
They're-
understand.
that's not about the discussion. We're gonna look at what they all wrote out, and then we're gonna be discussing that. And if we aren't able to do that in executive session, then that could potentially be information that we don't want the solar panel folks to.
And if we have a question about something, and we're saying, when we're talking about tactics and strategies, we would say, hey, we need to change these 2 paragraphs and this and that. And he would or the people who would be listening to that would say, oh, okay, we know they really want to change these paragraphs, so let's make them give up something else for that. This is a form of negotiations, and that's what we're doing. And that's why we talk about that in executive session, because all these legal actions are a form of negotiations. It's like union and management. They don't necessarily say, hey, we can't go more than, 4%. And then they're saying, oh, we know we can go to 4%. So that's how that kind of works.
So is this the only escrow account that you can ask for as a town?
Suggest that
I
be a
mean-
question for the attorney, what other escrow account would you like?
Or what do you?
Well,
think
there's supposed
about-
to be an escrow account for the decommission, when this solar field is outdated and needs to be cleaned up.
That
But
would-
I don't want that to be affected by this, well, you just said we're gonna put so much money into this escrow.
No,
account.
So this escrow is for legal fees.
fees, yes.
And if there is a solar field that gets permitted by the PUC at that point, or to Joe's point, negotiations will happen prior to the start of the project to get the decommissioning and any other things that get negotiated.
As we
between
have
now and
worked
then.
out with Green Mountain Power, they
So,
have a,
yeah,
de-
this is not
they-
the all and end all.
this is,
for this
you
one
know-
project.
Just for
It's just the legal fees.
yeah,
And
And
the
I-
attorney that we have contracted thus far, there's no other attorneys, that's it right now.
And I just want to say something, like, I do understand why people are struggling with this and why this is a really sensitive issue. I understand all of that. I also would just like to remind people that we are working with the best information we have to make the best decision, because I feel that people are coming here thinking that we are severely one side or the other. It feels pretty hostile in here. That's how I feel right now. And as somebody who's trying to do this job, which I enjoy for my huge salary of $800 a year, right? I'd just like a little bit of grace here and trust that we're trying to do the right thing. Because I'm feeling, it feels pretty hostile. And it's really hard to come here and say, let's do the best thing for the town, and feel attacked because people maybe are assuming that that's not our goal, and maybe that we are trying to, that we have a position right now where we're just trying to get all the information to make the best decision we have. And if, so just, we are comfortable with the timeline that we have. We know we've got a couple months lead time. When we have an opportunity to get all 3 board members together, then we can sit down and we can create what we think is the best decision for the town. And I don't have any idea what that's gonna be at this point.
Is that gonna be public or executive?
It would
session?
have to be public meeting. But it might not, it might be where we have a conversation. Maybe it's not a full, where you can have public comment, but mostly it's an observation meeting. It would have to be open because of the open meetings law, but it also, we have a chance to sit and have a conversation and take all of this information. It just feels as if people have already pegged us as having one position or the other, and we don't. We just don't. We want to make the best decision for the town, and there's a lot of input on all sides. So if you could give us the time, we are comfortable with the timeline we have. And if we're able to put together, not if, when we're able to find all 3 of us together, a time we can sit down, this is our topic, of course it would be open, because it has to be. And we would then look at all the maps. We have not, as a group, had a chance to sit down. And you can say, well, you didn't come to the public meeting. You're right. I was working, he was out of town, Zach had kids.
It's on the
Right?
website. And
You know,
Okay,
you know what?
you may not
I
appreciate
would-
how I spend my time.
I would also say, you know what, we're not here to be punching bags either. And I'm not here to sit here and have you go after us, that we're not doing the right thing. I live in this town too. I do this stuff for the benefit of this community. I have worked really hard, and Teresa has, and Zach have really brought this town up from being pretty on the rocks to where it is now. So we have made a strong effort to do this, and we've always had the best interests of our community. So I have a little resentment of the idea that we aren't thinking of the benefit of our community, because we've worked
That's why
really
we're here.
hard to make this town the way it is, and have this building, and have everything, reduce taxes, and try to make everything as better than we found it, and which we have.
We have reduced taxes for the town.
Yeah, we can't control the school board.
We have no idea, we have nothing about the school.
So the other thing is, it feels to me like you're over